Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Mishpachar.
Shabbat shalom.
Hallelujah. It's a pleasure seeing everybody again today on the Father's Set Apart Day. And as usual, we're going to have another dynamic lesson by our executive Moreh Yahuah. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Looking forward to it, right? Okay.
Yes.
All right, I'm looking forward to it. All right, always a pleasure. I want to begin by giving the Father all praises, respect, and honor for all the great things that He has done for me throughout the week, the months, the days, the years. I'm always grateful. Forever in the Father's debt. Can never repay the Father for the things that He has done for me, my family. I just can't. So I'm forever in debt. So every day that I wake up, my main goal and purpose must be to serve the Father, give thanks to Him for sending His Son, Yahusha Mashiyach, to be that atoning sacrifice for the nation of Yashra'al. That is very important. Anybody have any testimonies they'd like to share? Okay, we have Buddy Desai in the back.
So I recently became assistant manager at my new job.
Wow. Okay. Hallelujah. Great. Things will work out without an application. I got first dibs. Hallelujah. Anybody else?
I want to give all this thing to the Father.
Right.
Just for showing mercy and kindness to me and everything, for and having patience with me, and just giving me breath, rock your face, and
Hallelujah.
I can serve for the Holy Spirit.
Absolutely. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Right. Saving the best for last.
I want to give esteem also to you, give Brother Shabbat, but also an update on my job status is I do have a assessment test.
Okay.
And then once I pass the assessment test and get through it, I have an interview for a lead position, and hopefully, potentially, I'm kind of asking the Father for this favor, that I would actually be working under Dexter.
Wow.
Under Moreh.
Under Moreh. Okay. Yeah.
But
We still keep it Hebraic, so.
yes.
Hallelujah.
Yeah. Moreh Aliyah.
Great, excellent. Very good. I was able to get the job that I was looking for. I don't get no incentives, so I'm not going to make mention of the name. So, but I was able to move over in the other job.
Okay.
Everything went well. But I did learn something that was real important with nitrogen and oxygen. Something real important. We deliver it to Coca-Cola companies.
Mm-hmm.
And what they do now is they add a little nitrogen and oxygen to Coca-Cola. Now, they gave this big, long presentation. What they do with the Coca-Cola now, I would strongly suggest leave the Coca-Cola alone. It is terrible.
Before you continue, is it just Coca-Cola or the Coca-Cola products? Because Coca-Cola makes other flavored sodas also.
Yeah, it's just Coca-Cola.
Cool. Okay,
what they're doing with Coca-Cola,
Gotcha.
the soda,
Okay.
it goes through its process before they put the lid on.
Right.
It goes through this cycle 3 times, and this machine is washing it at 12 miles per hour. Then after that, they have to add a little nitrogen into the can, because if they don't, the Coca-Cola is so corrosive, it'll actually eat through the can. It'll eat through the can, so they have to lace it with a little nitrogen and oxygen just to keep it, stabilized inside of the can. So just imagine now, you're drinking this stuff. It can eat through a can, all right? But this is something that the FDA have approved. They just say that if you don't drink a whole lot of it, it might not bother you.
It might not.
It's just that thing. So again, just be mindful with your what you're eating, what you're drinking. I've been doing this food and drug and chemical thing for over 20 years. And some of the things that I've seen, there's no such thing as kosher. Nothing is clean. It is all filthy, all of it. All right, so just wanted to share that with you. I want to spoil nobody's appetites, but there's some stuff out there. Yeah, okay, anybody else? Okay. All right, so without further ado, we're going to have, who's going to be our lucky contestant today? Sabu? We're going to have our executive chief. Yeah, all right, we're going to have Zakane to blow the shofar. Chief Zakane, you can blow the shofar 7 times. I'll do the prayer. I'll do a prayer. I'm going to read the Psalms 100th chapter this afternoon.
Yeah.
Make a joyful noise unto Yahuah, all you lands. Serve Yahuah with gladness. Come before his presence with singing. Know you not that Yahuah, he is Elohim. It is he that hath made us, and not we ourselves. We are his people, and the sheep of his pasture. Enter into his gates with thanksgiving, into his courts with praise. Be thankful unto him, and bless or Baruch his set-apart name. For Yahuah is good, his mercy is everlasting, and his truth endured to all generations. Hallelujah.
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 Hallelujah. Okay. Without further ado, we're going to have Mori Eliyahu come up and as usual deliver a nice, beautiful lesson for the congregation of Yashra'al, the 12 tribe, and the scattered abroad. Hallelujah. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom, everybody.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Hallelujah. We thank the Most High Yahuah for being here today. We thank the Most High for allowing us to behold your beautiful faces today. It's an honor and privilege, every Shabbat that we're able to look upon and see each other, because it's not guaranteed that we're going to see each other from one day to the next, 1 week to the next, 1 month to the next. So anytime we can come together and we can behold each other's faces, it is an honor and a privilege to see each other. We're yet amongst the land of the living. Hallelujah. We thank the Most High for that, and I just thank him for how he has kept my body healed, kept me clothed in my right mind, has given me life, health, and strength, and I'm able to make it throughout my week. And, I just thank the Most High for, that, because we don't take these things, for granted or anything, and we just thank the Most High for how he's watching over us when there's turmoil going on elsewhere and everywhere else around us. And, I was just watching the news this week and just seeing how out on the West Coast, out of the state of California, not so much the state of California, but what is it, Paradise City or what?
Yeah.
That's already gone.
Huh?
That's already gone.
It's gone.
I mean, it's gone. And, these things can happen, right here amongst us in our surroundings or environment. But you know, we thank the Most High for how He's protecting us and keeping us. And you know, there's a lot more that you don't realize that's going on around the world. And I was sent my Isha a video of was it Australia? How they show the ocean and how the shoreline is just collapsing and falling in the ocean. And I went to another video at one of the beaches in Alaska. The same thing is taking place. The shoreline is just disappeared. It's dropping. And the people are watching and walking backwards, and the shoreline is just doing like this, dropping into the ocean. And I'm like, you know, this is a part of those birthing pains that Most High talks about. And see, we don't understand what's going on around us, and we think these things are just haphazard, but they're not. And I often talk about how, when it talks about Jacob's trouble or Jacob's trouble, how he mentions that twice. He mentioned one instant was talking about Israel. And he said, Israel shall what? Be saved out of it. But when he mentions the nations, he said, they shall not escape. And so when you look at how he talks about it shall be like a man in travail. And so who has heard such of a thing? And so how you see when these things happen, when you see when a woman's going through the trimesters or labor, you know, when she first gets pregnant, you know, contractions and stuff, they're spaced out so far apart and they're spaced out. But what happens to when you come closer to the time of delivery? Are those contractions, what are they? Like seconds apart?
Yeah.
Is it this is what we have to realize? The Most High has been working this out all the time. We just haven't observed what was going on. And so we have to look at this and make ourselves ready, to start preparing, to gather ourselves, to be ready to come forth. Because, you know, until that term has fully come due to the time of that baby to what? To come forth or be birthed, you know, that space or that child is not in an uncomfortable position, so to speak. Or it might be a little discomfort for the woman. What I'm saying is, when that baby has reached that maturity and the time for it to come forth, it gets very what? Uncomfortable for who? The woman. Until it's time, that lets the woman know it's time for this child to what? To come forth. And then you got to realize, when y'all see all this craziness and madness on television, you see people, you can just be walking down the street just because you're black, they'll call the policeman. Look at all these different instances where they're calling the police on black people for doing absolutely nothing, not breaking any laws. You have to know what that is. We won't observe the times. When you see all this prejudice and this racial division going on in this country. And not only here, it's everywhere. But what you have to realize, guess what? We're at the end of these 400 years. It's time for you to come out. And guess what? This woman is uncomfortable. And this is why this is going on. It's time for you to come forward. It's time for you to be what happened the first time when we came out. When we birthed back and birthed into a nation, you got to come back. He's finna bring his nation back together again. We've outgrown this place. This womb is too small for us. It's time that we come out. And this is why you have all this madness going on, because she can't tolerate it anymore. And y'all know what I'm talking about when I said she? The whole Babylon.
Yep.
She can't take it anymore. It's time for us to get out. And so what you have to realize is more and more of this stuff is going to take place, and you just see how you realize how lost they are. They keep worried about elections and equal rights and this, that, and the other. I'm just trying to say, where do you think you are? Since when do the captives have the same right as the captives?
That's good. That's good.
When have they been equal? Since when is the slave master or the slave equal with the slave master? But you see where our minds are. It's because we have assimilated into something that show you how we're just lost and where people don't know who we are. That you think you're equal with them and think you're one of them. So you get on television, you say anything. I told you I was in class one time, this guy, a black guy, we were talking. We had a discussion in the classroom. He said, our founding fathers. He said, our founding fathers.
See that?
So you know I had to give him a little light lecture. And, and I ain't got to tell you how that went. I said, those were not your fathers.
It's like the slave mentality, our house.
Yeah.
And you know, they say this is our house or our exactly.
And what'd say, Master Weed Stick?
We see
When Master said Master Weed Stick. Come on now, y'all. But this is the mentality. But we have to realize what's going on, where we are, and who we are as a people. Otherwise, you get caught up into something that you just be, as I said, lost in the sauce. You have to know who you are. And I often pointed out, I said now, when Kiefer was being asked to pay a temple tax, I said, I don't find it strange. What did Mashiyach say? You see, that's the thing. You have to focus on what Mashiyach himself, we know he's Mashiyach. Listen to what he tells Peter. He said, why wrestle go back and forth with that? He said, take the money out of your pocket. He said, look at the coin. He said, whose image do you see on it? Key. Whose image do you see on this money? That's very important. And he said, Caesar. What was Hamashiach's response? Well, render unto Caesar what is due to him. But you notice they were in Jerusalem? Isn't Jerusalem our land? Why would he be telling Peter to pay taxes to Caesar? Because remember, Jerusalem had been occupied by the Romans then. They were in what? Subjection to the Romans. So now when you go to the store, when you pull out your money, do you see your picture on it or you see the people that oppress you picture on it? It's the same thing. That gives you a sign. You're in captivity. You might not have yokes around your neck, not physical yokes, but you got them. But it lets you know, when you pull out that money, you see George Washington, Benjamin Franklin, Abraham Lincoln. These are the people or the forefathers of the people that yet rule over you. You are in captivity. And how do we know that? What did Hamashiach say he was going to do when he returned? He said, I shall what? Gather my sons and daughters from the nations of the four corners of the earth, from the land from which they were carried away what? Captives. Not free men. You were carried away captives. And until we get this mindset, we're always going to be in some craziness and some foolishness. You marching and picketing and saying, we shall overcome. And y'all find it strange. What's the first thing we do when something happens to our people that take place in our community? The first thing we want to do is what? Start a march. Start marching. And what do we gain from it?
No.
Nothing. Just a waste of time. Something that you become accustomed to doing.
Right.
But we better wake up and find out what we are and realize who we are, so you can prepare, start preparing to make the correct moves. And you fight for some equal rights. You need to be fighting for survival, coming up with a scheme and a plan to what? To sustain and maintain until he comes to give us the clue to the signal to go. Go ahead, okay.
This is a little off topic. Well,
No,
it's still on topic. Did anyone find out what was this protest that the Israelites went to Capitol Hill about?
Recently?
Yeah, they just was at Capitol Hill. You heard about it, right? I'll go to you. Yeah, they went to Capitol Hill.
Oh, right.
And
Yeah,
they was protesting on Capitol Hill. And now the thing is that the write-up, what I was reading, was saying, like they're saying that they're real Jews,
right.
and that the so-called white people, they didn't say so-called, that the white people will be killed. Yeah, and this is what they're putting on I might as well say us. You understand? Because we represent Israel, but the whole thing is that now what they're going to do is they're taking what these guys are saying, and they're just gonna put that on every Israelite camp.
Paint them with
Like-
a broad, what they call it?
Right,
A broad brush or stroke or whatever.
right, right.
Now, it was written by a Jewish guy, and it was, and basically he was saying that, what he was saying that we're talking about killing the true Israelites. They talk about how violent, no, it never did say anything about us being violent, but it did say that the Israelites were on a terrorist watch list or whatever.
Right, and we was gonna, that white people gotta die. But my point, what I'm saying, because you was talking about how we be marching, and now here it is, we got Israelites going to Capitol Hill protesting. Like, what are you protesting if you were supposed to be awakened? You understand? Why are you up on Capitol Hill protesting? Like, you're no different from, you know, the ones that's still asleep. So that's why I just wanted to know if anybody heard, you know, their cause or what was the protest about? No?
In the article kept saying that they didn't know what the protest was about.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's something that they always say about us, no matter what we do, no matter who's marching, they say we don't have what's called an ask. You're not asking for
And
anything.
asking for the brother.
Now, we could be asking for everything, we could be as precise in what we're asking as possible, but they still come back and say, you're not asking for anything, to make it look like all we're doing is making noise. So those boys probably went up there with an agenda, exactly, everything was probably perfect, but if you're writing the write-up,
Right.
you're gonna make them look bad.
Right.
That's what, and it's a Jewish guy that's doing it, so of course it's gonna make them look bad.
If it's some of the camp that I seen online, I doubt they went up there with an agenda with everything right.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Because it was them.
It was them. It was them.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that was just the
Yeah.
point that I was making, that, you know, even you know, we're up there protesting also. So,
Exactly.
you know, sad. But you continue.
Yeah, appreciate it, as long as I can. So just be mindful of these things, and without any further ado, we're going to get into the lesson, and we are going to start off at Isaiah, the 25th chapter. We want to make a correction from last week. Let's go to Yahuah, Isaiah, the 25th chapter.
What's the name of the class?
And the strangers, part 2.
It's in the 25th chapter.
Yes. Isaiah 25. And we are going Isaiah 25, we're going to start at verse 1. We'll ask Abad to read it. I'll read it loud so that the cameras on can pick you up.
O Yahuah, thou art my Elohim. I will exalt thee, I will praise thy name. For thou hast done wonderful things, thy counsels of old are faithfulness and truth. For thou hast made it of a city of heat, of a defense city, a ruin, a palace of strangers to be no city, it shall never be built. Therefore shall the strong people glorify thee, the city of the terrible nation shall fear thee. For thou hast been a strength to the poor, a strength to the needy in his distress, a refuge from the storm, a shadow from the heat, when the blast of the terrible ones is as a storm against the wall. Thou shalt bring down the noise of strangers as the heat in a dry place, even the heat with the shadow of a cloud. The branch of the terrible one shall be brought low, and in this mountain shall Yahuah oppose.
Stop right there. Go to Isaiah 56.
Yep.
My bad. Isaiah, Yeshayahu 56, starting at verse 1.
Oh. Starting at verse 1.
Yes.
Thus says Yahuah, keep ye judgment and do justice, for my salvation is never to come, and my righteousness to be revealed. Blessed is the man that doeth this, and the son of man that layeth hold on it, that keepeth the Shabbat from polluting it, and keeping his hand from doing any evil. Neither let the son of the stranger that hath joined himself to Yahuah speak, saying, Yahuah hath utterly separated me from his people. Neither let the eunuch say, Behold, I am a dry tree. For thus say Yahuah unto the eunuchs that keep my Shabbats and choose the things that please me, and take hold of my covenant. Even unto them I will give in my house and within my walls a place and a name better than of sons and of daughters. I will give them an everlasting name.
Okay, right there. Last week I said that he will give the strangers a place and a name better than sons and daughters. Actually, it's the eunuchs that he will give a name. Read it again.
Even unto them will I give in my house and within my walls a place and a name better than the sons and of daughters. I will give them an everlasting name that shall not be cut off.
So here, actually, he's speaking of the eunuchs and not the strangers. And so when we go look at that word stranger, it is not speaking of the 1616 stranger that we, when we go back to verse 56, chapter 56, verse 3, it says, neither let the son of the stranger, which is Nakar, from the Hebrew 52:36, that's not even talking about the stranger 1616, which when we learned last week, that particular stranger, everything was favorable unto that stranger. He said, treat that stranger as one what? Born or native to the land. So he's saying he's going to give the eunuchs a place and a name better than sons and daughters. So I wanted to make that correction from last week when I misspoke and said that he was going to give the strangers a place and a name better than sons and daughters. Go ahead, Drew.
Let me ask you a question. You're saying that he will, favorable strangers, they will have a part of the land. That's basically under the person who is, quote unquote, lord over them, right?
Right.
So basically, it would be, so if it was me, it would be my responsibility to give them shelter, clothing, that kind of a thing.
Right.
It's not that they will own their own land, right?
Right. Because we remember, when we read in Revelation, when the New Jerusalem city come down, what? You know, it has 4 walls,
Right.
3 gates in each wall. Each tribe has a gate. So within each tribe, they're allotted their inheritance. But the key of understanding is, even within your wall, you yet have servants. Now, when we read these different servants, you have hired servants, you have servants that were able to come in and what? When we read it back in Torah, how you had servants that could come in, do a job, but they would leave outside. They couldn't dwell amongst Israel. But you have one particular servant that what? Can dwell amongst Israel. So if they're dwelling amongst Israel, what are they going to do? Levitate and just live in the air? Or will you have to what? Give them an abode or somewhere to stay?
Right.
It's just like, now, I think we overread and overlook a lot of things when we go back to, matter of fact, let's just go ahead and get into it. We're going to cover some things now, point it out there.
Can I say
Yes, go
one
ahead.
thing, just to everyone, because we already almost like into a half an hour of it. Can we all hold questions until the end? Because you only got like 30 more minutes,
Right.
and if you start answering questions, it's going to take away from the lesson that
Right.
you want to bring out.
We're good on that.
All right?
So if anybody have a question, just write it down so you don't
Yeah.
forget, and we'll get it at
We'll get it at the end.
Okay, let's turn to Exodus Shemot 12 and 9. 12 and 19, yeah, 12 and 19. here we're talking about Passover and unleavened. Exodus or Shemot 12 and 19. We are going to ask Koti Shai, get that for me. Read it loud.
Okay, Shemot 12 and 19. 7 days shall there be no leaven found in your houses. For whosoever eateth that which is leavened,
Whosoever eateth that which is leavened,
even that soul shall be cut off from the congregation of Yashra'al. Whether he be a stranger or born in the land.
okay, whether he be a stranger or one born in the land. That stranger is 16, which is Gareth. Okay, let's go over to Shemot or Exodus 12 and 43. You can get that one also.
Shemot 12 and 43. And Yahuah said unto Moses and Aaron, this is the ordinance of the Passover, Isaac. There shall no stranger.
Stop right there. It says, there shall no stranger. That's the Hebrew 11 and 12. Then you got Hebrew 52:36, which we went over last time. It's Nakar. There shall no stranger what?
Eat thereof.
Eat thereof. Now let's go to the 48th verse.
And when a stranger shall sojourn with
Stop right
thee,
there. When a stranger, that's Ger, 16:16.
shall sojourn with thee, and will keep the Pesach
And will keep the Pesach. A stranger now what? Sojourning with you, keeping Pesach.
to the Elohim, let all his males be circumcised, and then let him come near and keep it, and he shall be as one that is born in the land.
Okay, now what stranger is that? 16:16. Now you have a stranger doing what? Keeping Pesach. That's why I said it's very important to look at all of these Hebrew numbers. So when you see the word stranger, you don't just throw the baby out with the bathwater. Because that's what we tend to do. That's what we tend to do a lot of times. We look at that one word thinking mean the same thing every time we see it. But y'all notice how that 16, continue from last week, 16:16 is a different stranger. Okay, let's go to verse 49.
One law shall be to him that is homeborn, and unto the stranger that sojourneth among you.
And that stranger is 16:16 in the Hebrew again. Ger. Okay. Okoti, can you get Exodus or Shemot 23 and 9?